Hey team, Blake here with Crushing Defeat Media. Welcome to an anime video. Made in Abyss is back. So let's discuss Made in Abyss Season 2, The Golden City of the Scorching Sun. In case you didn't know, I host an anime podcast called Anime Shoshin. Please visit animeshoshin.com and give it a listen. Now let's talk about Made in Abyss Season 2. If you aren't already watching Made in Abyss, you should be. It's a great anime, but be warned, it's also a pretty mature show. Not mature for sex stuff, but it can be violent, gory, and scary at times. Think of like a rated R Goonies, for example. If you have been watching Made in Abyss, you already know exactly what I'm talking about. Also, I'll share where to watch Made in Abyss at the end of the video if you haven't seen it yet. Let's talk about episode 1 of Made in Abyss season 2. Some minor spoilers here about the beginning of the episode and what it's about at a very high level. I won't spoil anything too detailed in the episode, but if I didn't talk about it at all, then what would I be talking about? We're going back to the discovery of the Abyss. Actually, discovery might not be the best word. You'll see what I mean when you watch the episode, but it's the most efficient way I can describe it without getting caught up in the weeds. I'm usually pretty disappointed when anime goes on a side quest like this, going away from the characters that we're here to watch, but I'm definitely on board for this one 100%. Learning how the Abyss was discovered is supremely interesting to me. It's kind of like an origin story, because you could argue that the Abyss itself is a major character in this anime. Ultimately, the series itself, Made in Abyss, has two main selling points. First, is the compelling, often mysterious, and likable characters. If you like Stranger Things, the aforementioned Goonies, etc., you will enjoy the kids in Made in Abyss. The second is the Abyss itself, a 7-layer pit that goes deep underground, where each layer is progressively more interesting and dangerous than the last. Consider that hell is often described as having 7 layers, and I don't think that's a coincidence, and it'll also give you an idea of what to expect. So the episode itself begins with a narrative about a terrible man who takes in an orphan girl. One day the man is out fishing and he comes across a boat that is smoking and smoldering. On the boat he finds the star compass, which leads to the abyss. The episode is aptly named The Compass Pointed to the Darkness. A man on the boat just before he expires tells the fisherman about a tale of a golden city within the pit that the compass leads to. A city that can turn anything into gold. There's some mystery here, but next the orphan girl is sailing with a fleet of ships led by an eccentric but seemingly kind man, Wazkian. They are following the star compass to the abyss. I won't go beat by beat through the entire episode, but I will share some of my favorite things about it and a couple minor disses. One of my favorite things about this episode is how quickly and effectively they introduce you to these new characters. It's mostly done through natural conversations and dialogue. There is some narration and a bit of expositional style dialogue, but it's never intrusive or annoying. One diss that I have is that the orphan girl has that anime personality trope where she's supremely insecure about herself. A bit of the episode is dedicated to her complaining to a boy about how she thinks she's ugly, even though she's obviously an adorable character on the show. However, they do give a reasonable reason why she feels this way, so this is a minor diss and doesn't take away from the story at all. Also, a line from the boy's response is pretty great and showcases the writing quality of the show. It's a pretty cool quote. "You have dark eyes. Fix your eyes upon the darkness, for the light that no one else has found exists only in true darkness." Something else I really enjoyed are the potential metaphors here, where viewers can assign different meanings or comparisons based on what they believe. For example, you can say that the abyss is the 7 pits of hell, and that the allure of the abyss or the lure of the golden city relates to sin. Or you could say that the discovery of the abyss is like the discovery of America by the Europeans. Or you can make no comparisons at all. This is because the creators don't beat you over the head with a bunch of allegory, preachiness, or obtuse messaging, which, as I'm sure you know, is a major problem with entertainment these days, especially entertainment coming out of the West, less so entertainment coming out of the East, and this is a good example of that. You get the opportunity to assign whatever meaning to what's going on in the show as you want. There are hints to things that it could be, but you're never hit over the head with it or told how to feel about it. I'll be curious if anyone picks up what I mean by this next diss. The boy in the show can randomly do something regarding communication that seems to come out of nowhere. It left me thinking, how can he do that? Vague, I know, but I bet you'll pick up on what I'm talking about when you watch the show. I also smiled when they used the label Suicide Squad in the episode. I'll be curious to see if we spend more time this season with the Suicide Squad or if we return to the characters from the previous story. Of course, I want to know what happens with Rico, Reg, and Nanachi, but personally, I would be okay spending some time with these new characters as well. Wondering what you think, let me know in the comments. I also really like the visuals and art style in Made in Abyss. I think they're amazing. You have these very cute anime style kids, kind of the anime style you're used to, but it's shown against the more painterly and serious scenes of the Abyss. It's a very stark contrast, and I think it adds a lot to the story and to the show. Consequently, I give this first episode of Made in Abyss Season 2 an A- grade, and I'm so glad that Made in Abyss is back. Now, in case you need to know, let's talk about where and what to watch to get caught up to this season of Made in Abyss. I'm a big fan of underdogs, so to see HIDIVE get such a great exclusive is awesome. Plus, I so appreciate that they're willing to take on the more mature and uncensored anime versus Crunchyroll, who seem to prefer to keep things mostly PG-13. I really, really enjoy that HIDIVE takes on the more risque, so to speak, anime. If you want to watch Made in Abyss, you'll have to sign up for HIDIVE. If you've already watched season 1 of Made in Abyss and the movie follow-up, I'll just thank you for watching, ask what you think of Made in Abyss, let me know in the comments, and remind you to please visit animeshoshin.com. If you haven't watched Made in Abyss but are now interested, you have two options to get caught up. Your first option is watch season 1 of the anime, and then watch Dawn of the Deep Soul, the movie, and then start watching season 2. Option 2 is just watching the movies in order. So Journey's Dawn, Wandering Twilight, Dawn of the Deep Soul, and then move into season 2. To explain this more simply, the first two movies are recap ones. They have a little bit less content compared to watching the show, but you won't miss any of the major plot points. Personally, I'd recommend option 1 because you do get a little bit extra content and it is a really great show. But if you're in a hurry and you want to get to season 2 more quickly, then option 2 isn't bad either. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you would like me to talk more about Made in Abyss Season 2, which would continue with Episode 2, Capital of the Unreturned. Thank you again, everybody. Bye-bye.